The subject of this video is how much protein is needed for maximum muscle growth. The general rule of thumb in the bodybuilding world is to eat 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. At Fitness Innovations, if we have a client that wants to build a lot of muscle, we start them with that recommendation. But the question is that enough? Is eating more better? Well, you don't know till you start the process. So you start into the process of working out with a certain level of protein, and then you elevate it and you see if that increases the muscular gains. If it does, then your body needed the protein. If you don't see much difference, it was probably protein that you didn't need. And eating excess protein is really just a waste of money and actually an extra burden on your body to process. So for example, if we have somebody who weighs 150 pounds, they're going to eat 150 grams of protein. Now, if they want to weigh 160, it may be prudent to increase that level of protein intake to 160 grams, but it might be excessive to jump it up to 200. So as a general rule of thumb, start with 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. While it's important to get the right amount of protein every day, it's also crucial that it's digested and assimilated efficiently. Another rule of thumb in the bodybuilding world is to eat every 3 hours. And the reason for these small, frequent meals is so the muscle has a constant source of protein. Many people are currently utilizing time-restricted eating or intermittent fasting. And while you can build a good physique with that approach, it is not as efficient for maximum muscle building as eating every 3 hours. So hypothetically, if someone weighs 150 pounds, based on how many hours they're awake, they're going to get in approximately 5 to 6 meals a day. So roughly you're going to get 30 grams of protein each meal. If you're eating 5 meals a day, if you're eating 6 meals a day, you're going to get roughly 25 grams of protein evenly spread throughout the day. So if you want to build the maximum amount of muscle, utilize this system of eating every 3 hours. So when I was doing my bodybuilding competition, I was always trying to increase my anabolic state naturally because I never did any sports enhancing drugs. So one of the things I learned when it comes to the amount of protein, so, whenever people are talking about protein grams, this is all a guesstimate. We're never getting exactly 150 grams of protein. We're getting our best to get in that ballpark. So something I found that was very useful to gauge whether my protein intake was sufficient was how hard the muscle is. So if you contract the muscle, if you've got a very good muscle density and good hardness, then that was a sign to me that I was getting enough protein. Sometimes my muscle would feel not quite as dense or not quite as hard when I was contracting it. That was a sign that I wasn't getting enough protein. So that's something I haven't really heard a lot of other people talking about, but it's something I always know. If I contract the muscle and I get a very hard contraction and good muscle density, that's another sign. If my protein's a little bit under what I need, then I know the muscle's a little softer, contraction's not as hard. So that's another way you can gauge if you're getting a sufficient amount of protein. And when it comes to assimilation, another thing I experimented with was eating every hour. Now, again, it wasn't a whole meal. I was either doing some protein from supplements or one time I tried doing hard-boiled eggs every hour. So the photograph that you're looking at now is a competition, one of my favorite photographs from when I was 19 years old. And I had tried the desiccated liver tablets, was one of the things I had taken on the hour, at the top of the hour, in order to get a constant source of protein. And that did seem to enhance my progress a bit. For that particular competition, I actually would boil a dozen eggs and then essentially eat a hard-boiled egg at the top of every hour. And that also worked well for increasing my protein assimilation. I wanted the cholesterol in the egg yolks because cholesterol is a precursor for testosterone, so it helped increase testosterone production. If you're wanting to try this and you're concerned about the cholesterol, then you could always just do the egg whites. But that is another thing I found to make my body more anabolic and increase my progress. One other thing to know is as you get older, and I've noticed this myself as I've gotten a little bit older, as I don't digest and assimilate the protein as efficiently as I did when I was younger. So in that case, you may want to consider taking some type of digestive enzymes or some type of digestive aid to improve the digestion and assimilation of the protein. To conclude, consider these suggestions on protein intake in order to achieve maximum muscular gains. As always, consult with your personal healthcare provider before making any significant changes to your nutrition. I'm Jeff Riley for Fitness Innovations.